Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be playing around with these new pens. So GRABIE Official contacted me and asked if I would like to review these. So I said yes, because I'm very interested in acrylic markers at the moment. As you know, I've started designing some little illustrations on my Etsy shop, some little kawaii characters. And I've been looking at some different branded acrylic markers for a while now, and I wasn't quite sure which brand to go for, what to try, whether to jump right in and purchase them all. So I'm really excited about this because it is something that I have been looking at. So here we have the 28 acrylic marker extra fine tip set, and it tells you all the surfaces that these can be used on: glass, ceramic, porcelain, wood, rubber, metal, fabric, stone, paper and more. 0.7 millimeters these ones. And then we have got this 36 set. Now when they first come I was a bit confused because this one obviously states acrylic markers on and this one just said dual tone markers, so I wasn't sure, are they alcohol markers, are they brush water based markers? But they're not, they're actually acrylic as well, as far as I'm aware. They've just not got acrylic written on them. I don't know why, but this is a 36 set. Again, it has all the materials that you can use these on. I apologise for the emergency vehicle in the background. Can't get a video in without one of those. But yeah, non-toxic, UV resistant, quick drying, which I hope they are because I'm the worst at smudging things. So yeah, we're going to have a play around. They also sent these nibs that you can replace with some handy tweezers. So there's quite a lot in here if you need to replace any of the nibs. Now we'll get straight in. The first set I tested out a little bit in my own time, not to bore you, was the 36 set. Now ignore the little swatches down here, those are the 36 set. So these are the colours and look how nice they are. We've got a good range of pinks, we've got some metallics in there as well. You can see a metallic gold and silver there, but we've got a nice range of colours. There was quite a lot I was swatching and I thought that is a really gorgeous colour. So yeah, let's get stuck in and have a look at this 36 set first. So this is dual tone brush tip markers. So these are the brush tips. These are the ones that I'm most excited about, I think. So you open it up, come in this nice little packaging with your poppers on so you can pop them back in. You have two trays in here. You have two trays. So each pen has two colours on it. So you're one at one end, one at the other. The exact same brush tips, but slightly different colour on the opposite end. So they're like complementary to each other. So these ones you'll notice have a number on the tip, if it'll focus. So that's something I look for with all my pens. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's a gel pen, if it's a colouring pencil, I always look for something that makes the pen recognisable. So we've got 650 there, and on the other end we've got the colour of what's on the other end as well, 631. So you can swatch all these out and they're easily recognisable. So you can see all the swatches. Again, we've already popped them down at the top, ignore those ones. So all the colours in this set are there at the top. But we'll just have a play. We'll pick a nice colour. What should we go for? Let's go for this one. Let's go for a pink. I'm a sucker for a pink. So let's pop those up there and let's have a little go. So we'll start with the lightest colour first, and just, you can see how easily these lay down. And what I love about these ones particularly is that you'll know if you get any sort of paint pen, a lot of the time you have to shake them and then you have to press them to get them out. A bit like if you think of a Posca pen, that's what you have to do. With these, it's just straight out of the barrel. You don't have to shake it, you don't have to press it. It's a lovely brush tip. Look at that. Look at that, lovely brush tip, and you can just get straight in on your work. So these ones, as with acrylic paint, you can guess that you'll be able to layer over the top of each other as well. So that's the lightest colour. I'm going to see if I can blend in this darker pink over the top a little bit. So if we start at the top, and look how gorgeously that blends into that. If you wanted to create even more of a drastic contrast, you could just pick a different marker out of your set, because obviously you can mix and match them all, but these are just complementary colours on the edges. on the end of each barrel, but they really go over the top of each other quite nicely as well. If you wanted to add totally different colour over the top, I'd let that dry first and then go in with a colour. So we will let this stand for a little minute, let it dry, and then I'll pick something like a blue or a green to see how that sits over the top. So yeah, really like these ones. The fact that they've labelled them with a number, the fact that they've got the complementary colours, so you can do some really nice blending without having to think, oh, what colour will go well with this colour. They're already sort of marked out like that. You've got a nice range of colours in the set as well. If you do any sort of illustration like me, then it's perfect. So you also get in this particular set a swatch sheet. Now what I really like about this is that you get it on black paper and you also get it on white paper, so you can see how the colours look on different papers. I've recently been sent a lot of different papers by a different company to try out, and in that was a sort of sketch pad of black paper. So I'm very excited that I've got these now, and I've got that, and I can really try out what we can do on black paper. So if I swatch them all out on this one first, I can really have a good idea of what I'm doing. So I love that. I absolutely love that. So they've also, it doesn't actually say the names of the pens, it only has the number on there, but the thing I like about the swatch sheet is that it gives the names as well as the number. So if you prefer to have a name to a pen, that's got that as well. So I'm going to pop these ones out the way while we have a look at the other set. So this is the 28 set that they've sent me, and these ones are the extra fine tip. So these aren't a brush tip one, these are an extra fine tip. So again, we've got a nice little button clasp that we can neatly keep them in if you want to keep them in here. We've also got a drawing pad with this set, so pop them to the side. It's a cute little size, this. It's something like 5 by, oh, it says there, I was going to say 5 by 5, it's 7.1 by 6.6 inches, £110 paper. And inside here, we've also got a cute little swatch sheet, and it's on white, and we've got the black. How cute is it that it's got this little pen illustration, and you can put your swatch on this top bit of the little pen here. Really cute. After the swatches, we get some papers. Now there's some slightly different coloured papers in here. This paper I'd say is like an off-white. It might be an ivory or virgin on a cream. Not quite as dark as a cream, but it's like an off-white ivory kind of colour. So we've got a couple of sheets of those. And then, or more than a couple. Then we'll go on to a grey paper. So it's giving you a slightly different colour here. We've got some grey paper. Then we've got this lovely lilac shade. How beautiful is this to play around with? If you're a beginner and you're not knowing where to start with these pens, it's such a good little kit. You've got your pens, you've got your swatch charts on black and white paper, and then you've got all this fantastic paper to play around with. And you don't need to purchase anything else, it's all here. There's a navy paper. It might look black on camera, but it's navy. It's not quite black. It's got a lovely blue colour to it. This is black, now you can see the difference. So then we've got the black paper, and that might be it. Yeah, so there's quite a lot of paper in there to play around with. So I did swatch out some of these pens. So the first row here are what I swatched out here. So again, lovely colours. Now there is a reason why I don't like these ones as much as the first set that I showed you, and that is because although on the swatch chart it gives us names for pens, when we come to the actual pen, unless I've gone blind overnight and I just cannot see it, those names are not on these pens. So if you mix these up in the set, you won't be able to identify them by name, because you might forget what it actually is if you put it in the wrong place. So on these you'll see, don't mind me, I've been painting, I've got paint all over my hands, but on these you'll see GRABIE acrylic marker, It says extra fine tip, quick dry and water based, UV resistant, blendable, acid free. Then we've got how you use the pen, and then we've got something not for children under 3 years. There's nothing on the bottom there. There's nothing on the barrel to say what colour this is. So yeah, that's the only thing I have with this. They did it with the first set. Why couldn't they have just popped a little label on these ones? Well, the second thing is these ones are more like a Posca pen. So these ones you do have to shake and you do have to press down to get them going. They're a fine nib, you can see there. And these are the ones where we've got the replaceable tips for. So these replaceable tips are for these ones. So these ones are the ones that I already tested out, that you can see on this bottom row, if I get it in frame, on this bottom row. I'm going to show you how easy it is to get these pens working, because these ones I haven't activated yet. But I'm going to show you how easy it is. So if you give it a little shake, similar with a Posca pen, give it a little shake. And then if you just press it down on the paper, I'll bring it up. If you press it down on the paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's there. So it's 6 little presses down, and then it's there. Might be a bit blurry this, but, and it comes out really nicely. They do come out nicely. They're gorgeous colours, but I think I prefer the ones that are brush tip, that are just ready to use without having to press down and shake and all the rest of it. But they are really nice colours. They're really juicy and they lay down gorgeously, and there's a lovely selection. So yeah, and you can see it wasn't too hard to get it going. I've had Posca pens where I've been banging down for decades. I'm not even joking. So yeah, you can see 6 little taps on that, and it was at the bottom and it was coming out. So shall we have a look at this one next to it? So I'm guessing this one is called Verdun, because that one would have been the olive. Shall we give it a little tester on some black paper here? So again, gonna give it a shake. I'll get it going on this paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so about 6 or 7 and it's out. And we'll give it a lovely swatch on this black paper. Oh my, look at that juiciness. Look at that. That is amazing, isn't it? Look at the coverage on that. I think they always look brilliant on black paper. Whenever you're swatching anything, it looks amazing on black paper. Look at that. Beautiful. So in my own time I will probably swatch the whole set out on here, but I didn't want to bore you with that. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to test out some of these pens on some little illustrations that I've done. So let me get the swatch pages out the way and we'll get the pens back in frame. So these are some little illustrations that I've drawn out. So I've drawn them out with pencil, you can see my pencil. Then I've gone over with pen, and then I just erased the pencil line. So I've done it off erased it off all of them apart from the flower. So there. And let's have a little play around with these. So I'm going to start with the brush tips first, and I'm going to have a go with the brush tips. And I'm going to do the flower with the brush tips. So I'm going to bring you right down here. Maybe about there. Another emergency vehicle. I told you I live on a main road and they are always going past, always. So I'm not going to use this set because these are quite dark for the flower. I'm going to use this set here, and I think I'm going to go for some nice purples. So I might go for this one here, which is number 614 and number 628. So we'll start with the lightest colour first and put some nice little lines into, no, I'm going to start with the darkest colour. So with the darkest colour, we're just going to see, I've never coloured any illustrations with acrylic markers before, so this is a first. So I'm just going to use them as if I would paint with my actual acrylic paints and my paintbrush. and see how that works out for me. So you can see I'm just fanning these little lines up like that, because that's how I would paint with a paintbrush with my acrylic paints. I'm going to do the same over here. So you can, I think with the brush tips you can get a really nice sort of fanning effect with them. I really do love a brush tip. I think there's more control as well, in a strange way. More control, yet more freedom with these. Let's go for this one. I will try and layer some of these pens as well, just so we can have a look at how they're layering. I know I did say we're going to go back to that other sheet of paper and pop some greens or blues over the top of those pinks. So we will do that as well. If anybody is interested in any of these pens, I do have a special discount code below in the description box. I'm not affiliated with this brand at the moment, but there is a discount there for you if you want to use that. If you want to get yourself a bargain. So that's the darkest purple. I'm going to add in some of the lightest shade now, and I'm going to add this in from the top. So we're kind of blending some of these colours together and seeing how they mix in. Like I say, I've never used an acrylic pen before. It's really new to me, but I'm really enjoying this experience. So I'm going to fill in all this white space with the lighter purple, and then I'm going to add back in some of the darker ones over the top again. So I am trying to blend and layer these pens so I can show you how good that's working. So let's get back in with the dark pen and just bring a few more lines from the top. Maybe one through the centre. Gorgeous. They just go over each other effortlessly. You could keep on layering and layering with these pens. Beautiful. So I'll go back in with the lighter shade now. I'm curious to know, has anybody else got acrylic marker pens? I'm curious to know how long they would last before running out, and if they do refills. That's something I should have looked at actually before I came on, to see if these pens are something you can refill or if you just have to repurchase. I'm assuming with a company like this that they don't sell single stock. I'll double check, but I'm assuming they don't usually sell single stock. So if you run out of a particular colour, I don't know, you might end up having to buy a set. But I'll double check that. I'll try and find out. But that's usually the case with lower budget brands. But it's really strange, I hadn't heard of this company before now. Before they contact me, I hadn't heard of them. But these are really nice. Really nice. I'm going to go back in a little bit with a bit of the lighter purple. There we go. So these would work really well in colouring books as well. I know I'm an adult colouring channel as well, so I do adult colouring. This would work really well. If you have ever used acrylic paints in your colouring books, you'll know that they don't go through to the next page. That's one good thing about them, is they don't bleed through paper. So to have something like this in a colouring book, I think would be a game changer. I I've never thought about using them before in my colouring books. Right, let's go back in with some of the darker colour. It's such a simple thing to do this. Florals are one of my favourites for mindless colouring. Doesn't matter what you're using, what materials you're using, I always find it really mindless doing flowers because you can be a bit freer with them. They're really easy and simple to just put a few lines down, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You can just throw the colour down. But I'm loving how easy these are going down, how juicy they are. I love how you don't have to keep shaking the pen. That's why I think I'm going to prefer these ones over the other set that's been sent. I really do, but it's a personal preference thing, and it just depends what you want to use it for, because the other ones that you have to press down and shake to get going have a really fine nib on them. So perhaps if you're doing some fine details on one of your colouring pages, if you want to use it as accents, the fine detail ones might be better for you for doing the fine detail work, but who knows. Let's just add a bit of that there. Now I'm going to go in with a different colour for the centre, and we're going to do a slightly different effect in the centre. What colour should we go for? Add a bit more lighter there, just over the top, split it up a bit. Like I say, you can keep going in and putting more and more details. Really, really pretty pens. So I'm going to pick a colour for the centre now. Ooh, what colour do we think? Should we think some greens? What do we think about this green? Should we go for this one? So this one is 664 that I'm using. I'm just going to go in with a full colour on the bottom. 664. There's a little bit of fibre on the end of that brush there. Just pick that off. So I'm going to put that colour down, and then I might pick a different green, more of a vibrant one. So I'm going to use 633, and I'm going to put some little dotting details in on this one and see if we can get some little spots in. Oh, this one's a lot brighter than I thought. That one's a lot brighter. Oh, we definitely should have swatched these out. But I'm going to do some dotting details so it really, really gives a nice texture. I'm going to see if I can find a darker pen now. Let's have a look. Here's the second set. Might be better off with the deeper set over here. So there's lots of dark greens here. Should we go for this one? This one looks rather pretty. It's like a kind of earthy kind of blue green. It's all over me. Like 675. Another emergency vehicle. And I'm going to put some little dotting details in with that. Yeah, let's cover up that bright green. Yeah, the key is to swatch your colours out and take note of the colours you're picking up, because that green was not the green I was going for. It's a bit of a neon type of greeny yellow, that one. So we'll cover it up so you can see how well that one colour goes over another colour as well. So you can see how well that's gone over the top. Oh, I love this. And I'm going to see if there's any sort of, there'll not be, I don't think there's a white in this set, but there is a really, really light colour. So this one here, I think that's the brightest one we've got in this set. I think I'm going to use this one for some little highlights in the petals. So again, going over the top with some little lines there. So they layer beautifully. They layer beautifully and opaque over the top of other colours. Absolutely beautiful. I'd say that they are kind of taking on, once you put it down and it starts to dry, they do dry darker, but that's the case with a lot of things. When you first put it down, you can see how bright it initially is, and then as it dries a little bit darker. I think that's the same with acrylic paints though, as it is these brush pens, to be honest. Put a bit more down on that one. Maybe a bit in the centre as a highlight, a bit of a highlight on that side. Well, there we go, that's our flower with the brush tip ones. Really, really nice pens, those ones. Really, really enjoyed doing that one. And you can see how well they layer. Now, they're not struggling to layer either. You can probably fit loads more layers on top of there. So I'm going to pop these ones back in the case. So that's those ones. Now I'm going to do another illustration. I might try and do my little froggy, and we'll try this with the fine tip ones. So I've chose to do this with this set because there's a few more little tiny details with this one that I want to see how I can get these in. So we'll come down. So this is the set 28 acrylic markers extra fine tip. I think I'm going to start off with my little coffee cup in the middle. So first off, we're going to see if we can get these pens going, because of course some of them I haven't yet activated. So let's get this colour going. This is the black. I'm doing the black first because I'm going to do the bulk of his eye black, allow it to dry, and then put some white highlights in. So I'm just going in full on the centre of his eye with the black. Now, because I'm going around the eye all over his body with a green colour, it's going to be a good idea to let this dry a little bit before going too close to the eye. So I will work around it and allow things to dry whilst I'm doing other parts. We'll just put his little eyes in first to start with. There we go. They're very opaque and very, very juicy. Very nice pens. So we'll pop the black pen there. I'm going to try and find a nice sort of... Actually, I better put these back in the right places. Otherwise, because they're not named, I'm not going to know. If I lose the order, I'm not going to know the names, am I? See, that's the thing. Maybe we need to send them a little message and say it'd be nice to have the names or a number at least on these to identify them. So I'm going to use this colour next. Now I think I've already activated this one. This one's like a... No, I don't want that one. Let's use the slightly darker one. This one's like a little brown tone. So I'm going to use it in the centre of the top of the cup. And then around that I'm going to pick a darker brown. So let's go for... I hope this is brown. Is it brown? Let me test it first. It might not be brown, this. Let's test this colour. Oh, that one took a few more tries. Oh yeah, that's a nice colour, isn't it? That's a lovely colour. So we'll use this around the edge of the cup, trying to leave some of that colour in the centre. No, we'll have to go back over. They're too juicy. I'll go back over the top with the other colour. See, they're fine nibbed, but they're so juicy. When you're doing something so small, they do come out quite fast. So I'm going to do his tongue. Nice pink tongue on this little character. There we go. And then I want a grey, or I might do it in silver. I think because I've not really got a grey, we'll put a bit of... Oh, it's not activated, this one. Let's get this going. There we go. We'll do this little coffee cup silver, but I might have to go back over his mouth with the black pen, unless I can get around this. We'll see. But I want a little highlight on my cup as well, so I'm going to leave some of this cup white. So I'll go over the top of the eye. And you see what I'm doing here. It's a bit of a glare. I'll go over the top of the eye. This is what the fine details better for than the brush tip, but we're still really tiny illustration here, so we'll have to fix his eye in a minute. So I'm going to leave a little bit of white there, and then I'm going to leave, yeah, so like there, it's like in the centre. Then we're going to add in some more browns. So you can allow these colours to dry, or you can just go straight in. Totally up to you. I'm going to add a few lines of this brown around the bottom and the handle. I'm going to add a line through the white bit as well. That's what my character looks like, because I've drawn this little character. He's on my Etsy shop at the minute. He's a cute little character. I'm going to go back in and fix his eye with the black and maybe just accentuate his mouth a little bit. Now I'm going to allow those eyes to completely dry before I put white highlights in. So we'll move on to his body. So the little bit of his belly, you can see that little circular bit there. We're going to just go in with, I don't know if to go in with a yellow or a creamy colour. Let me test this colour. We'll go for this. We'll go for this colour around his belly. We could have gone for yellow as well, if we wanted to. Get the middle of that cup. I think I still really prefer the brush tip. In all honesty, just my personal preference. I like the brush tips. I think these ones can feel quite scratchy as well. Can you hear the scratchiness? So I'm going to go in with a greeny blue shade now, this one here, for the rest of the frog. Let's lift him up. It's looking a bit washed out there, isn't it? So let's start off at the bottom, because I know I don't have to be careful around the eyes at the bottom here. See? Oh, there's that scratchiness. There's not with the brush tip. The brush tips smooth on really nicely. So I would say as well, this is quite a big area to be doing with a fine tip. So naturally, I don't think you would do something so big with one of these pens. These would be good for accents on colouring pages, for mandalas, you know, the really fine detailed mandalas. But as for something a bit larger like this, I really would stick to the brush tip, because you're going to find it quite challenging otherwise. Halfway there to the top. Our little froggy. Now I'm going to be careful around his arms, because I don't want to lose that black pen that defines where his arms are. If we go over that, you won't know his arms are there. So just be careful around that black line. I think I'm going to give a little push down of this pen on a scrap piece of paper to try and get it coming out a bit more juicier. See if that helps. A little bit maybe. Try to be careful around his eyes. Oh look, we've gone over it already. We can fix that. That's the brilliant thing about these pens, is that you can just keep going over. You can make mistakes and you can go over the mistakes as many times as you like, really. We've got one more eye to get round. So yeah, definitely brush tips for this, larger areas. I would use the fine detail ones for my dotting details. So if you've ever watched any of my colour alongs up on my channel, I love to do dotting details at the end of all my colourings. So that would be really good to add something in to the end of your colouring page. There we go. You can see it's a bit patchy. It might dry a bit nicer. I'm going to get a bit of a darker colour now and just see if we can blend over the top a little bit or put any darker areas in. So let's get this going a bit more on the page. So where should we have a little shadow? And we'll try and pop him in a little shadow. Should put a little bit of a shadow down here. Under there. Put shadow under his belly maybe. A little bit of a shadow around his belly. Mr. Froggy. Maybe around his eye. Now I don't know if that's a fibre off the pen or the paper. Not quite sure about that. So I don't actually think, and I think it's the nib, it's all about the nib. I don't think these ones layer and blend as well as the brush tip. These ones are definitely more for accents on pages rather than doing large areas and blending, I think. Definitely. Just got to use the right pen for the right job, I think, haven't you? Looks like he's got a little set of glasses on, doesn't he? Got a little set of glasses on. Oh, right to frame. Like, looks like he's got a set of glasses on. Froggy glasses. Go around his legs. Over the top of his belly. So we've got all his belly there. If you want to see how pinks go over that green, you can add him in some little rosy kawaii cheeks. Where should we put his cheeks? There. Some little kawaii cheeks. What else? Should we do him a little floral pattern down here? See, really good for accents. Over the top of things, perfect. Look at that, and look at the detail in that flower. But larger areas, fine tip, no. But I guess that's obvious really, isn't it? But I just wanted to play around and try out. Yeah, I wanted to play around and try out. I'm wondering if to go over all the lighter areas with the darker green, because I just feel like it looks better if it would be all dark green rather than that light colour. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's make him all dark green. It might be less patchy if we do that. Let's make you less patchy, little froggo. So my character for this one is actually called Frank. That's the name I gave him. I called him Frank, and the little coffee cup he's holding is called Carlos. Frank and Carlos. So we'll go around his little blush. So I'm going to bring some white highlights into this as well. Now it might be a bit tricky getting around this flower that we've just put in now, but we can always redo the flower. Because I like making my life hard. There we go. We get round it. Just about. We can make those petals more circular in a minute. But yeah, layering's not a problem. You don't even have to wait for it to fully dry before going back in. You can just go back in straight away. Let's get this going a bit juicier. There we go. Yeah, brush tips for the win for me, guys. What do you think? What's your conclusion? I think I'd use them more. I think I'd get more use out of them. It's the same with alcohol markers though. I always prefer a brush tip alcohol marker over the chisel tips and fine tips. Every time. There we go, little froggy. Get rid of that. Right. Let's neaten up his little flower. Neaten up his cheekies. And I will neaten up those eyes as well, because those eyes aren't quite as circular as I'd like now. Let's fix this side. And that one's fine. There we go. So I'm going to get the white in now to get some little highlights in. So this one needs getting going. Let's see. Let's get this going on here. Is it out yet? Oh my, it's not out yet, this one. There we go. So we should add some little highlights to this guy. Definitely on the coffee cup. Do some little bubbles. Some little frothy coffee. It's a little frothy coffee. And then his eyes. Have to be very careful of his eyes. Get those little highlights in. Look at that cheeky little Carlos. And then a little highlight on the edge of the mug. And a few little lines. A few little highlights going across the cup. Like that. Then we need to get some into his eyes, but I don't think they're fully dry yet, so I'm a bit nervous. Let's just go for it. No, they're not fully dry. Let's wait for that to dry, Kirsty. Let's wait for that to dry. So it wasn't the cleverest thing in the world. I knew that was going to happen as well. I was just hoping for a miracle. I was hoping for a miracle. So let's put some highlights into his body instead. Let's put some little lines in. There we go. Little highlight on his foot. Oh, look at me. Cute little frog. Right, I'll let his eyes dry before I touch his eyes. But yeah, there was our flower with the brush tips. and froggy with the fine tips. Yeah, I'm a fan of the brush tips more. Should we go in again? Should we do another little illustration with the brush tips? So let's do these little mushrooms, shall we? So should we go for some oranges? The lovely brush tips. Gorgeous. Let's go for some oranges. Why not? So let's go in on the outside. So again, no pressing down on these. They come straight out. Perfect. Perfect. Oh, I love these. They're so much easier to work with, guys. Brush tips for the wing, Grabby. Doesn't matter if we go over a little bit. I think you get a smoother appearance as well on larger areas with these brush tips. Definitely. So this is my Kawaii Mrs. Mushroom. I don't know if I came up with a name for her. I don't think I have yet. We've got Frank and Carlos up here, but I don't think we came up with a name other than Mrs. Mushroom. And then a sneaky mischievous husband's down here. There we go. So that's that. Now around each circle I'm going to go in with the colour that's on the opposite end to create contrast. Oh, it's more pink than I thought, that colour on the end there. It's like a really light baby pink. It doesn't really show up well over the top of that colour. There we go. What colour should we do the actual things in the centre then? Should we put some brown into there? Let's see if we can find a nice brown. I think so. I think this one might be nice as a dark colour. We could even go back around, yeah, go back around the edges with that. It creates more of a shadow than that pink colour. So go around the edges. As a sort of shadow. Doesn't have to be neat or continuous. You don't have to do a continuous line. You can just be a bit more messy about it. And then the actual little things in the middle. Let me check the time. Oh, I might have to leave soon. We've got the skill run to do, guys. We've got the skill run. So I'm going to go into the centre of these with this colour and then pop in some little highlights at the end. So you can see it's easily covering up the pen as well. Where I've gone over the line art, it's easily gone over it. Quite opaque, these pens. So let's use a really nice, this kind of colour here for underneath. I'm going to pop a shadow under here as well. in a second. So perhaps do the shadow with the colour that's on the opposite side of here. So all under here, we're going to go straight over the mushroom as well. It's going to go full it over everything here and take it over the other side. We've got this real shadow effect going on. And then, what colour should we do the mushroom? I want to give her a really dark brown belly as well. Let's see, what is the darkest brown I can find, or like an off brown. This might be more green. It's a bit of a browny green colour, that one. Let's get that colour in there. And then I think I'll do her arms and legs the same colour as her belly as well. Put that colour in there. There we go. Let's get our body colours. Let's pick a nice peachy tone if I can. A nice pinky peach tone. Let's go for this one. Oh, she is pink. She's a pink mushroom. I'm going to be careful around her eyes. You can always draw the eyes back in, but if you go over them, it's not a problem. But see, even though you've not got a fine tip and it's a brush marker, you can still get into small areas easy with the tip, because look how small it is on the right on the tip. So I think I've actually got more control with this than I did with the other pens. Definitely. There we go. Should we add a bit of shadow into this one as well? Let's maybe go back in with one of the brown shades. There's another emergency vehicle going past it as well, guys. So maybe put a little shadow on the bottom of here. This is like a pinky, it's kind of pinky brown colour, isn't it? It goes well as a nice shadow colour with that pink, doesn't it? So maybe take this all along the bottom of the mushroom, up to the other side maybe, like that. Oh, I'm loving this, loving it. Maybe put a bit around the belly, put a little shadow around the belly. Oh, that's my daughter's alarm going off again. I'm going to give her some little cute cheeks as well. Oh, I'll have to go and shut that up, won't I? So I'm going to use the white from the fine tip set now, because I don't have a white in the brush tips. Or do I? Oh, I do. I've spotted it. I thought it was unusual. Yeah, I've spotted it. Here, we do have a white in the brush tips. Well, we'll use this. We'll use this. So I'm going to pop his little eyes in now, because I think that will be dry. Oh, I don't know. I'm not completely dry yet, are we? That's taking a while. Might be better with a fine tip for getting that in now. Let's have a look. Let's go in with a fine tip because it's a bit juicier. Let's see if it'll just do it now. Yeah, we can do it with a fine tip. So I'm going to put 3 little dots in his eye there. and 3 little dots there. Look at him. Don't they come to life when you put the eyes in? It's all about the eyes. So let's put some little details in on here now. So I reckon some little highlights on the belly. Like that, maybe. A little bit in the cheek. And some little dotting details on the mushroom, why not? Do some big dots, some little dots. Can really see the range of this fine tip pen and what you can do with it. Pop some little highlights on the round bits, why not? Like that. Make her a bit magical. Mushrooms are magical, aren't they? Especially if they've got smiley faces. Let's face it. And then put some little highlights there. Like that. And I think that's it for Mrs. Mushroom's highlights. And I'm kind of okay about the highlights we've got going on Mr. Frog. Maybe a little one there. Put some little dots under his eyes. I don't know. Get carried away with dottage. And maybe add a bit more of this fine tip white to this floral to see if it'll stand out a bit better. But yeah, really enjoyed trying out these pens, so thank you so much to GRABIE Official for sending me these. Please do check out their Instagram page there, and they've got a lovely Instagram page, and you can see these being used more and see which ones are more suited to you and what you do. The link is in the description of this video if you want a bit of money off your next purchase. So let me zoom out. So there's our little characters. Personally, I do prefer the brush tips, but again, it's a personal preference. That's completely up to you. I can totally see different ways of using them and how I would use the fine detail for certain things and then how I would use the brush tip for certain things. So I think actually it's quite complimentary to have both sets, and then you can sort of pick and choose what you want to use them for. But yeah, really lovely pens. These being the brush tips, put those back in there. Love the fact that these have got a number on them so they're easily identifiable. The fine tips don't have the number on, but I will perhaps reach out to GRABIE and just say if they were more identifiable, they would be even more perfect. But yeah, thank you so much. Really enjoyed doing this review for you guys. Please do let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.